In Washington, D.C., there is a car crash as a woman is driving her car. She finds that the person who hit her is a monster, and all the people in the street turn into monsters as well, except that the woman is imagining all of this. She runs the people over before her car is suddenly stopped by Wonderwoman, and she tries to explain that they were monsters, but Wonderwoman is baffled. In Metropolis, a man is holding a gun to his wife because he sees her as a monster as well, but Superman stops him from killing his family. He is arrested and Superman checks out his shed to find countless dead bodies there. Meanwhile, in Gotham, a woman is about to drop her baby from on top of a building, but Batman intervenes. She thinks her baby is the devil and throws her anyway before Batman dives after her and saves the baby, but the woman had thrown herself off as well. Later on in the Hall of Justice, the Justice League investigates this series of disturbing crimes as everyone had claimed that they saw monsters. The same pattern has been happening all over the world. They suggest the involvement of magic, but Batman doesn't like the idea and leaves. He goes home and is given a message to go see John Constantine. You see, 5 days ago in Las Vegas, Constantine was gambling with devils. After losing, he decides to risk it all, going all in the next hand. The demon cheats and changes his cards using magic and goes all in as well. Constantine raises his bet and bets his house of mystery, and the demons match the bet. He accepts and reveals his cards while the demons laugh at him. Constantine cancels out their magic, winning the bet, and the demons are enraged. Constantine attacks while his friend Jason abandons him, leaving him on his own. He uses magic to wake up a demon inside his friend, and it destroys the other three, and they're sent back to hell. The man is brought back and punches Constantine for forcing him to summon his demon out, and they both depart. Back to the present, in Gotham Square Garden, Zatanna is performing a magic show. She lifts elephants up in the air and they vanish into thin air. Backstage, Batman visits her to ask her about Constantine as they both have a history together. Suddenly, Batman is possessed by a spirit that tells Zatanna that she must talk to Constantine before Batman quickly expels him. Zatanna said she will explain, but they must all go. In the Batmobile, Batman can't see the spirit, only Zatanna can, so she acts as the middleman. The spirit Boston used to be a circus performer who set off the wrong crowd. One day, he was in the middle of a death-defying act when he got shot, immediately becoming a ghost after his spirit was resurrected by a goddess who felt sorry for him. They are on their way to track down the House of Mystery, and as they go, mystery shrouds them. Someone magically sends a tornado towards them, and they are quickly swallowed inside. Zatanna tries to protect them until Batman takes them out of there, when suddenly the house appears, and they all rush to escape inside. Constantine welcomes them, and Batman informs him of the recent spike in crime. Constantine uses magic to make Boston appear in front of everyone when suddenly, Orchid appears out of nowhere. She is a spirit that personifies the magic of the house, and she takes an interest in Boston, who is another spirit as well. She also senses powerful magic from Zatanna as well as feelings for Constantine, who is visibly affected by this news. Finally, she feels an overwhelming pain coming out of Batman and asks him how he copes with it. That's how he replies,
I have a butler.
Constantine revisits the events that took place, but he also wants to work alone, explaining that the Justice League is useless against dark magic. However, he asks for Zatanna's help, but she insists that they do it as a group, and they argue until Batman talks some sense into them. Together, they take a walk over to the Darkseid. They're going over to his friend Richie's house, who literally has death standing at his doorstep. They recognize Constantine and tell him that they're here to collect his dying friend's soul. Although Batman can't see them, they're drawn to him, claiming that he cheated them many times. They tell Constantine that when the time finally comes, they will collect his soul before he sends him away. Richie comes out all confused by this gathering. Once inside, Constantine asks him for a special key, but Richie is angry because he's dying from some magical cancer because of him, and Constantine hasn't apologized. To make matters worse, he tells him that he won't be needing the key anyway as he's dying, which makes Richie punch him in the face. He's furious, but Batman tells him that innocent lives are at stake, and he agrees to cooperate, handing them the key before leaving them. They go to Metropolis to visit one of the offenders as Constantine plans to go inside his head. A nurse comes in and Boston takes over her body to go watch outside. Zatanna insists she goes in with Constantine, and he reluctantly agrees, leaving Batman alone outside. They enter his mind and start probing around his memories. They start arguing inside while the mystery man works some magic to haunt the hospital, and a giant monster comes from the toilets in the form of a giant turd, stinking up the entire place. The turd terrorizes the hospital as Boston tries to handle it. Back in the guy's mind, a shadow overcomes them, and Batman senses from outside that something is wrong and goes to deal with it. He covers the turd in water before electrocuting it, which only momentarily stops it. Batman and Boston are then trapped outside the room. Meanwhile, inside, Constantine finds the moment the man turns mad. They're blasted away, and Constantine retrieves a ring and Zatanna before escaping just in time, before Zatanna destroys the giant turd monster. They don't recognize the ring, so they take it back to Richie. But death has come to collect. They find Jason over his body, and Constantine chases after him while the rest fend off the soul gatherers. Batman manages to revive Richie just in time, and Constantine catches Jason. Later on, he leaves the ring with Orchid to show it to Richie when he wakes up. He goes to talk to Jason, warning him not to summon the demon Etrigan. Jason explains that the situation isn't how it seems and that he found Richie like this. Constantine agrees that Jason is an honorable man and he wouldn't commit murder. Jason then explains that he came to Richie because he wanted to find a way into the House of Mystery, as he was looking for the Dreamstone that Constantine won. He explains that it is the most powerful conduit of evil in the world. Recalling his time as a young knight centuries ago, envisioning victory in battle until a man named Destiny destroyed his hopes. Destiny had forged the Dreamstone using black magic in his soul, using it to make people see things to turn them on each other. Jason was getting defeated and tried to fight back, but he was fatally wounded. All was lost until a powerful magician named Merlin summoned Etrigan to destroy Destiny easily. As Jason was dying, Merlin infused Etrigan with him, and Jason was given eternal life. Now in the present time, Constantine is leaving the Dreamstone unattended but has placed some magic on it so that the house protects it so only Constantine can access it. Batman suggests that the timing of these events must be connected, and right on cue Richie wakes up and reveals that Felix Faust was the one who did this to them. Constantine digs up what he has on the man, but his location is unknown. Constantine has a way of finding him though, but he must ask for a favor. He orders Orchid to look after Richie, and they all go to find Swamp Thing in his habitat. The avatar of the Green voices his disdain for Constantine and all humanity, but Zatanna manages to plead with him to reveal the location of Faust for the betterment of all greenery. He takes them to an isolated location where the castle is then revealed. Constantine tries to recruit him into the fight, but he rejects the offer. Instead, Etrigan is summoned and crashes the castle to attack the idle sorcerer. He is then countered by Faust, who summons other demons to fight for him. Zatanna arrives at the fight, but she is blocked from speaking, which cancels out her magical powers. Boston takes over his body and makes him hit himself over and over until he is expelled and strangled. Constantine calls Batman's weapon a pea shooter and intervenes, but Faust uses his book of magic to trap him in an ice cube. Batman saves him from his predicament using the pea shooter. Etrigan demolishes the demons, and Zatanna gets her magic straight out of her vocal cords. Faust looks for her until he finds and drops her. Etrigan attacks him, but he is sent packing back. Still unable to speak, Zatanna uses stored magic, but Faust attacks in his full might. Zatanna tries something but is still at a disadvantage. Constantine and Batman help her, and she releases a spell that unleashes her into a tremendous power. She crafts a weapon to kill Faust, but Constantine gets in her way and tells her to regain control. She does so and breaks down crying. Faust is confused as to why they're after him, as it turns out that it wasn't him who's behind all of this. He had no idea about it or the Dreamstone. They suspect that it was Richie who was behind it all along. He backstabs Constantine, but Orchid had been ordered to help Richie in any way she can. She guides him to the stone and follows his orders to burn away in the fire. He summons the stone and the team rushes back, but Richie has now taken control of the house. Constantine demands that they talk, and Richie lets them all inside. Using the Dreamstone, Richie unleashes its powers. He explains that he wanted a cure and the stone was the only thing that could save him, but it was a trap. Destiny had whispered sweet nothings in his ear to get him to retrieve his soul, and he takes control over him. After 500 years, Destiny is back. His first order of business is to destroy the house and leave to turn the rest of the city. Zatanna barely shields them from the blast and crumbles down. Batman comforts the self-blaming Constantine, and they stress the importance of stopping Destiny as soon as possible. Together, they all go after him. The city is falling apart. Everyone is turning on each other as Destiny corrupts everything in his path, feeding off of their hate. Boston tries to jump him but is caught and blown away. The Justice League is on its way to help, but it could be catastrophic if it turn on the people as well. Green Lantern is the first to get infected, and he attacks Batman. It is now time for Jason to bring back Etrigan, but his attacks are ineffective. He is separated from Jason as the curse is finally beaten. Constantine resorts to bringing Swamp Thing by harming a tree. Batman is still fighting Green Lantern and snatches his ring away to take him out of the equation. Wonderwoman is met by Zatanna, who stops her, as well as Superman at the same time. Swamp Thing is still battling Destiny, and a huge explosion spreads through the city. Swamp Thing is then stopped and gets the human inside and ripped out, and he's dragged back into the dirt. Constantine has a plan though. He irritates Destiny and gets under his skin to distract him so that Boston can take control of him to bring his shield down. Once that happens, Jason stabs him courtesy of Merlin. Destiny is then torched up while this stone is destroyed by Batman. and Richie remains. Death comes to collect, and his soul is dragged away to hell. Etrigan and Jason are still apart, but Jason is dying. No longer bound to the demon, he dies in his arms. Later on, Etrigan delivers one last rhyme and drops the final bar at his funeral before leaving. Zatanna tells Constantine that Batman has asked them to join the Justice League, and Constantine is in disbelief. He refuses and Zatanna departs, but Constantine asks her for a drink to consider the offer. Together, they rebuild the House of Mystery where he's welcomed by Orchid. Boston watches from afar, but he as well is welcomed and follows inside, before the house mysteriously vanishes away. This was yet another addition to the DC animated universe. It set up the events for Justice League, Dark Apocalypse War, which we will post a recap video about soon, so stay tuned. Well, this brings us to the end of today's video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel to get more videos like this one. Your support helps us grow. And tell me what you think about this film. Are you a fan of John Constantine and the Dark Arts? Would you like to watch the rest of the DC Animated Universe story in our videos? Let me know in the comments below. I read all of them, and if you're watching till now, thank you. I'll see you in another video soon.